oh boy, we were waiting for this, and finally, it took forever for a real Dynasty Warriors to come out. We won't talk about 9. 9 was a mitigated disaster. But so after the absolute and hilarious failure of Dynasty Warriors 9s, they decided to skip a whole generation pretty much. So that was it. And so there were other cool Koei games. Dynasty Warriors 4 was freaking great. And then I recently played through Fate Revenant, which I thought was a great Fate anime in a very bad game from other ways. They had messed up, like they had tried to do this kind of like RPG, visiting around talking to town people, and they messed that up. And for this game, they kind of fixed it out. It's like they were kind of tired of just continuously Dynasty Warriors gameplay. We'll get to that in a second. But they added in like an overworld where you can just kind of go around and you talk to people and you collect little treasures and stuff like that, and you visit towns. But that's just way better than what they had been trying to do with some other ones and screwing up. But where I think Origins really, really shines is it revitalizes the 1 versus 1,000. For one thing, they can actually fit, at least on PC, like 1,000 guys on the screen for real. I didn't count them out. There's a lot of dudes, like way more dudes than I could count. And you can go and they're real dudes and they attack and you can kill them. And it's just, oh boy, it's so fun. It brings you the thing where I'm like playing in half the damn time. I'm frothing at the mouth. Oh, this game brings it in, especially since I played on hard. You gotta spec in damage, or otherwise there's like super bullet spongy, and it's just, man, I couldn't stop playing it hard. It was the most challenging Dynasty Warrior games I've ever played. Normally I play these games, I have to start it off on chaos, and then I'll have like one hard the first round or whatever, the first level, and then I'll get off my thing and then make some stupid weapon and then it just be OP for the whole thing. I never felt OP. I never felt like I was in super control until toward the end. And even then, the enemies are tough. The fight against Lu Bu feels more like something that belongs in Wolong or Neo or freaking or like if say freaking Elden Ring was like on Speed Crack or something like that. These are intense fights. They've managed to make the combat with the officers much better. They've got tons of guys on the screen. You can do little things like you can summon out special abilities. Like you can have your own little squad of dudes attack and stuff. These are freaking great. And while you still have your Musus and all that stuff, you have these things. I think they're called bravery arts. They're these little above your life bar, the little orange things. These are your bravery moves, and you can have 4 of them, which is apparently supposed to have been somewhat like Dynasty Warriors 9. But you can customize these and bring in. There's some universal ones, and there's ones for the 10 weapons you get. And so they suck at first, but you start getting them up, and then you'll learn like how do I build my meter real fast. Oh well, you want to dodge and stuff, all the attacks and things they're around to do, and then as you dodge and stuff, you'll like get your moves back pretty damn quick, or you do a parry on the guy. It's the stuff that Dynasty Warriors usually didn't even have. What usually happened in your old school Dynasty Warriors, you launched the guy and then he never hit the ground before he died. That's generally how you played. And so they've got this whole big shebang now, and while you're fighting them, the other guys will try to whip your butt. So you need to keep them in the air. You need to keep them doing your finishing moves on them and stuff like that to keep it all going. It's so fun. It's freaking cathartic as hell when you get pulling it off. It's like, oh my god, this is just amazing. And there's dudes, you can see on the screen, there's guys everywhere. They're like, oh god, and you're just knocking the officers about, doing all kinds of crazy shit. This is where the new Dynasty Warriors excels. It is amazing at that, and I'm just hoping that they bring this on and do more stuff with it. I don't want to spoil too much into the game, but they end this game. Let's just say they ended at Chibi, so that's as far as it goes, and they keep it toward the realistic style. Like originally, like on Dynasty Warriors 8, you kind of had to try to follow at least realism being the book at least. And then you had this crazy stuff where you had all the waifus and stuff doing crazy stuff. It's just like side missions. This one tries to keep it real for the most part. But here, and this is one of the big things that is going to make people mad, is that you play as one guy. And he feels like super extreme main character. He has his own story inside things, and he's just the amnesia brain, because of course all anime characters have amnesia. But you don't sit there and play as Cao Cao all the time. You don't play as Zahudun. Don't play as Guan Yu. You can bring in, they might be your ally or help, and they can jump in for a second to be them. But you play your own original character. I could see this being the biggest thing that's going to upset people. Also, it is missing completely any kind of co-op thing. And that is something that they've mentioned that they want to look at. I don't know how the hell they're going to pull out a co-op with 1,000 guys on the damn screen. Usually, but on the other hand, the co-op in the last few games has been pretty damn busted. Either from online, it was junk, or it wasn't synchronized, or you could cheese tons of slowdown moves, or the other character wasn't slowed down and just cheese the game that way. So if they do online and another one, I want it to be done correctly. So until they get that figured out, just don't even bother, honestly. So I do have some problems with the amount of weapons you got. You only get 10. There were some of them, like Zhang Fei's Lance thing. I ain't never cared about Zhang Fei. He's never been my guy. It sucks. But there was some like rings. It's like, oh well, that's pretty cool. I got SSX's rings, but I'd rather have her bow. Where's my throwing knife, girl? I'm missing all that stuff. Hell, you can't even use a fan. You can use some beams and stuff, like you gave Leon's beam is a bravery art, but it's missing some of that kind of cool stuff. So only 10 weapons, and you're forced to be one guy, no co-op. That's the biggest things that I held against it. The music is great. I couldn't find the new music. I'm using real old school stuff here, and so the overworld thing is decent. The story is decent. Now there's some crazy things that I think hold it back from me thinking that this is the best Dynasty Warriors ever. So the big one is that it overstays its welcome. I'm only play through the Wayside. Now this is, man, I don't know, was it 30 or 40 hours? Something. It was long. Now when you go back through and you play through again, you can start like maybe halfway through ish, and you could do woo and shoot that way. I didn't want to. I was like, I'm done. If I had more toys to play with, maybe I'd do it. But I was good. And there's also this like I don't even know if you call it relationship system, because you talk to the side people and you do they'll give you like menial little tasks, or then you'll go find them and talk to them and this and that, and you can do it like up to 5 times to build up a relationship with your officer. They give you a couple of things from it. It was not really that great gameplay related, but what's weird and makes it very awkward compared to the rest of it, which sticks straight to like strategy and trying to be, my stratagems and my officer strategist and all that cool stuff. The stuff I really like. They have all of these side relationships. All the people want to do you. It doesn't matter whether they're a girl or guy. They just want to have sex with you, and they don't say it straight up. They just keep it an innuendo. But there's nothing you can say to say, "Yo, man, let's go back in the back right now," or "Thanks, man, thanks, Quad, you, but no thanks. Quit looking at me like that." There's nothing you can say to it, and so it's like you kind of passively have to take it. And this is when you've done this like 20 or 30 times. It's like, oh God, I'm done. I think Zhang Fei likes me a little too much. He's trying to feed me a lot. Oh, this guy's trying to get me to drink that liquor. It's like, it gets awkward. It's weird. As I was saying, it's like freaking some old lady wrote this. Some old lady's having a freaking Guan Yu fan fiction, and we're forced to listen to it. It didn't do anything for me. And it just was like, oh God, there were so many of them. There were so many. I was like, shut up. And I think it's a little long-winded. This has more to do with not having enough cool weapons to deal with. You'll want to use all of the weapons to build up your overall character, and it's got a lot of cool things you can do there. A lot of it's actual throwbacks to the old game, but overall, we enjoyed the hell out of this. The challenge was good. It felt good, and there were some ridiculous things you'd have to do, especially if you like lost your morale, which would happen sometimes. And there was times where you don't have any morale. Everything else is like super damn hard, and they become like insane bullet sponges. And then I pull it off anyway, and it would be like me and Cao Cao, and that's it. Just me and my one officer I can't let die. I just did not let him die, and just doing crazy things. Or there were some things where I'm like, I've killed like all Lubu's army myself, and I just left the other guys in town. They were outside of the castle waiting for my chance. Like, no, I'm going to jump in and murder myself. And did it all myself. This is a very good. Dynasty Warriors is back. It's a little long-winded. It's a little repetitive. I mean, they're all repetitive. But overall, we give this 2 paws up. Brian loves the new music, the new graphics, the freaking giant 1 versus a bazillion characters. And Big Kitty, it's like, we're back, man. It feels like it's just mashing that button. It's going crazy and being actually challenged by this game, which normally it didn't. So 2 paws way up. If you're been curious about Dynasty Warriors, wait till it's on sale and grab it. It's not perfect. I thought when I first played it for the first 5 hours, I thought this is going to be game of the year. It's not game of the year. It's pretty damn good though.